behind him. Look at Brock right there singing touchdown.
That was a dime.
That was absolutely.
Are we? And this was a dime too. Are we? We're really asking our best days behind. He is a fourth-year quarterback.
Yeah.
He is really young. Look, I've talked to a lot of different quarterback gurus, okay, including the guys who worked with Drew Brees and Tom Brady. The quarterback's prime is anywhere between 29 years old and 35 years old. And I get what this question's coming from. In fact, I love the interview that he gave him. I love the confidence. He's always been doubted. And quite honestly, he's always going to be doubted until he does get to the Super Bowl. But let's not forget, as a rookie, okay, he led him to the NFC Championship. The next year, Super Bowl. This year, a lot of guys hurt, still played well under the circumstances. So I do believe if he gets the pieces around him, there is a chance that this team could be a Super Bowl contender.
You mentioned this. You mentioned the quarterback's prime is in his, what years you said?
29 to 36.
Right, 29 to 36. But a quarterback's prime with his team, because a team's prime is on a quarterback's rookie deal. So balance those two things for me. Usually when a quarterback's on his rookie deal, they have incredible seasons. Patrick Mahomes, as great as he's been, his 50-touchdown season, rookie deal. Lamar Jackson, as great as he's been, unanimous MVP season, rookie deal. Josh Allen, as great as he's been, and he just won an MVP. Statistically, you could suggest even a better season was rookie deal. So could you argue, though, that rookie deal Brock Purdy may have had the best season for the
Look
MVP?
at the teams that were in the championship race last year. The Chiefs, not on a rookie deal. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, not on a rookie deal. Lamar Jackson, not on a rookie deal. The Bengals, even they didn't make the playoffs. Joe Burrow, not on a rookie deal. You don't have to be on a rookie deal to go out there and compete. It's how you construct your roster. Ultimately, Brock Purdy is going to have to step up and make those plays needed, especially if he's making $55 million.
All right, well, I don't know why you brought up Joe Burrow and the Bengals, because they obviously were not in the championship race. I don't even know what you're talking about there. But, yeah, asking this question is kind of absurd. Are the best days, ahead of him or behind him? Also, this whole idea that a quarterback's prime is between 29 and 35, 36. I don't know how true that is anymore, especially because mobility is such an important aspect of the quarterback position now that it obviously once was. You're not going to tell me that Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, that they're going to be so much of their game is their physicality, is their athleticism, their mobility, and you're just not going to tell me that they're going to be more in their prime when they're like 34, compared to when they were 28, 29, 26, like 27. Like there's just no way. I just do not see that. Not to mention, you also have to figure out when the quarterback, we're talking about different eras as well. And so for so long, you had so many more defensive coaches, not a deep understanding of if you have a defensive coach, how important the offensive coordinator is, et cetera, et cetera. And so I believe that it took longer for some of these quarterbacks potentially to finally link up with the appropriate coach. But when you link up with Andy Reid from day one, Shanahan from day one, McVay from day one, like, you're hitting the ground running. Right, you're right. If Brock Purdy goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers and has Mike Tomlin as his head coach for his first 5-6 years, and then finally goes to Kyle Shanahan, well then yes, his prime will probably be later. But I just think there's too many factors into this just blanket. A prime for a quarterback is, and again, based on what exactly? The NFL has fundamentally changed so much. The rules have changed. Like, we've only been playing in this current era of the NFL realistically for the last, a little under 10 years probably, depending on what rules you want to talk about, the real focus on the offensive game. So I just, I don't want to get too lost in that, but it's not like Brock Purdy's game is found upon this like hyper mobility, right? He's obviously not a Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen in that regard. So I do think someone like a Brock Purdy's game will age better, but we kind of keep saying these things. So if you put a good team around him, he can win. This team can be a contender. And we know that for a fact because we've seen that. We've actually legitimately seen him be able to do that. And everyone kind of keeps saying, oh, well, he needs a good team around him. And it really does become a pretty cartoonish conversation when you actually really boil it down. Because you want to say, okay, well, we need a quarterback who can like carry a team or uplift uplift a team that's not that good and be better than it is. And it's like, let's just say that's true. Let's say Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, etc., that they can make worse teams better, which I agree. And I think that they can do that better than a Brock Purdy. I think that's fine. I think that's fine to admit. But also at the same time, how much does that matter? Okay? Because at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, those guys aren't winning Super Bowls. They're not winning Super Bowls. And the quarterback with the better team overall, better coaching staff, better defense, whatever it may be at the time, wins. And that was, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And you could say that Patrick Mahomes is able to elevate an offense better than a Jalen Hurts. Okay, fine. Let's say that that's true. But the Philadelphia Eagles were the better team. And because of that also, their quarterback was able to be better, significantly better. And they won the Super Bowl. So it's 99.999999% of the time, it's just always the better team. The better team. Especially when your quarterbacks are good enough. So you're right. You're going to be better off, potentially, if you have like a Josh Allen and you're going up against, I'm trying to think of someone who's a little bit less controversial of a quarterback that people won't lose their minds. Tua and the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins could have a better team. But if you have the better quarterback in Josh Allen, yeah, I like my chances there. Because Josh Allen is just a better quarterback and will step up and be able to do more, especially like in the playoffs when it matters most. But when we look at this pool of quarterbacks who are, once they reach a certain threshold, and I don't know what that exact threshold is, it honestly probably changes even just game to game, and year to year. But as long as you're just good enough and you're not actually either inconsistent or bringing down your team, or you just can't handle the bigger moment, Dak Prescott, well then you're going to be good enough. Then it's going to come down to who has the better team. What defense can step up? When the Kansas City Chiefs played the Baltimore Ravens in 23, they held them to 10 points. That was the defense. Patrick Mahomes only put up 17 points. It came down to the team. Same thing when they played the Buffalo Bills. Both years. These last couple of years. Who was the better team? Who executed better? The Bills did when they played the Ravens. So to kind of use that as a way to knock Brock Purdy, it's like it's always kind of comical. Jalen Hurts would have won the Super Bowl in 22 if his defense played better. But he had to put up, he scored the most points in a Super Bowl loss ever. And so he balled. He played great, but the defense could not stop Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and they lost. If that defense was just 5% better, then they win the Super Bowl. Boom. There you go. Done. And if the Kansas City Chiefs could play 10% better defense, that Philadelphia Eagles team was so good, they still win the game. If Patrick Mahomes' offense could be 10% better, that Philadelphia Eagles team was so good, they still win the game. Because that's how powerful the team itself was. And how not powerful the Kansas City Chiefs team was. So take away the quarterback play. Doesn't even matter at that point. So, the more I think about it, because I used to always try to figure out, what's the difference between some of these quarterbacks, how great they are, how elite they are, special they are. How much does it matter to be able to elevate the team around you, et cetera, et cetera. And, the more I come around to it, the more I really just think about, the conversation just probably matters so much less now, at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl now executed that offense flawlessly. And not all quarterbacks are capable of doing that. You can't point and say Dak Prescott could have done that because we haven't even seen him do that. And in fact, we've seen him fail to do that. Even Lamar Jackson in some of these big games, we've seen him fail to flawlessly execute an offense. We've seen Jalen Hurts now do it multiple times. and we can point to Patrick Mahomes doing it, Josh Allen doing it, Joe Burrow. We can point to other. And it's not to say that Lamar Jackson can't, because we've seen him do it, but we've also seen him really do the opposite as well. And so we can kind of go through all of this, and we've seen Brock Purdy operate an offense at an incredibly high level in the playoffs too, many, many, many times. Many times. Now, did he become a superhero in the Super Bowl? No, he did not. No, he did not. And yes, and I also say that if he played 5% better, they win the Super Bowl. He wins the Super Bowl. But also, if they don't muff the punt, they win the Super Bowl. If Christian McCaffrey doesn't fumble, they win the Super Bowl. If Greenlaw doesn't get injured, they win the Super Bowl. And now you're talking about having a quarterback who's clearly capable of leading a team to win a Super Bowl. We have to stop pretending like that is just this easy, well, anyone can do it as long as you give them a good team, because it's just not true. It's just not accurate. Especially when you see that quarterback step up in some big moments in the playoffs. Now, granted, I knock someone a little bit if they're behind and they're a contributing factor to it, even though they ended up winning or stepped up big in the fourth quarter. I'm still kind of like, well, you were a contributor to why you were down. And I think that's fair to say about Brock Purdy against the Packers and against, I almost said the 49ers, against the Lions. I think that's fair, and although he did overcome it, which is impressive, you'd like to see him not be a contributor to the problem at all. Which is why I kind of knocked, Patrick Mahomes a little bit in Super Bowls as well. I'm like, you're throwing interceptions, like you're playing poorly. Yeah, okay, you came back and won against the 49ers, like congrats, but like you did not play great football. That you do deserve some blame. That does take it away from you for a little bit. It's a lot different if the 49ers were just stopping you and they were scoring on you and you were down, and then you were able to find another gear and win. Like, to me, that's different than when you were just playing poorly. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what contract Brock Purdy finally lands on, and how they can start to kind of get clarity and start to begin to construct a team, knowing that they have these foundational pieces set. I'm anticipating as long as who knows though with health, but as long as they actually stay healthy, I'm anticipating a pretty solid bounce back year. I'm not saying that they're going to bounce back and immediately be because it felt like they were a juggernaut. And that's the thing too, think about it. For the last couple of years, the 49ers genuinely felt like a juggernaut. They were legitimately inevitable and beasts. And Brock Purdy was the quarterback. You can't just attribute all of that to everyone but Brock Purdy. It's the same argument that I make with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't give credit to every single player on that team but Jalen Hurts. You just can't do it. You can't do it. It's not the way it works. It's one thing if it was for a single season. Then I could understand. Yeah, the quarterback got hot, or it was a perfect time, lightning in a bottle, whatever. But when it's over multiple years, in multiple big games, that becomes more of a pattern than anything. But if you want to point to Brock Purdy and say, well, he couldn't beat the Rams when he was missing John and Bill and Mike and this, and it's like, well, I don't really care. I don't care how good of a quarterback Jalen Hurts is when AJ's gone and Saquon's gone and Devontae's gone. I'm like, well, I don't really care. I want to know, is he amazing with those guys? Because if he's amazing with those guys, then that's ultimately all I need to see. Now, if I'm trying to really rank how amazing of a quarterback he is, well, yeah, I want to see how good he is when we're missing some of those pieces. And if he really falls off a cliff, then you're like, yeah, seems like he's really just great at operating a high-quality team, not so good at kind of, keeping the team afloat when you're dealing with some injuries, et cetera, et cetera. I think we can start to have more of those more nuanced conversations. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you're going to need to win a Super Bowl with your dudes, with your top wide receiver, with your top running back, with a great O-line, with a great defense. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to take. So what does it matter how good your quarterback is when those pieces are missing? I don't think it probably matters at all. But if that quarterback keeps coming up short when you have those big pieces, or he's clearly a limiting factor even when you have those big pieces, again, Dak Prescott, well, then you're kind of like, right, what are we doing here? Like, that's more of the conversation. We should be focusing more on how great do you play when you actually have a great team around you? Because isn't the name of the game to build a great team? And if you say, well, if you pay him all this money, you can't build a great team. And I actually think Chase did a decent job of being like, well, that's not 100% true. And not to mention, it seems like Brock Purdy's not going to be taking top dollar. So then you should be able to build a better team. So yeah, it's a messier conversation than it needs to be, honestly. But, you know, what are you going to do? But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Brock Purdy? Do you think the best days are ahead of him? Are Brock Purdy's best days ahead of him? Let me know in the comments below. I'll read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.